And got it.
Okay,
We are on.
so far this is going to be a very short meeting today. Because none of our speakers are here.
We could tell stories.
Where's Kirk Reed with his ice-breaking games?
His wife's also a member, past district governor. That's Jeff. And Tony previous.
Well, I should close this. This looks better.
Hi, Merle.
Very
Hey,
good.
everybody.
Oh, that's pretty good. Is that that's pretty good virtual there, Steve?
Yeah, we've got filters.
Oh, Steve's showing off.
Well, he's not a cat face.
Oh, well,
How
not yet.
about this?
Oh, wee.
You could do
3D action.
Marie Chevalier.
That's it.
No, that is actually Poirot.
Poirot.
There you
Agatha
go. I'll go with
Christie's
Poirot.
Poirot.
Hercule.
Absolutely.
N'est-ce pas?
I just finally figured out how to get my picture to go up there when I turn off the video. So that's my tech breakthrough of the week.
That's a big step. That's a big step.
It's not obvious what you have to do to make that happen.
No,
Why were we having a short meeting?
Say again, Doug?
Why were we having a short meeting? Does
Well,
that do with-
Hi, Kevra.
There we go. That was the worry.
Oh, okay,
We were afraid we had no speaker.
okay.
We have both a speaker and a microphone.
Hello, Kevra.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Yourself?
I'm good, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
See, you guys have to be all ready for kids here a week from Monday, I think.
what's coming in on Monday?
You're new to
I
this.
saw-
There you go.
Yeah, I think, yeah, but it's not gonna be a whole lot coming back. It all depends on the schools, the parents. A lot of them are staying with vote. And I think it's because it's almost the end of the year, but we'll be ready.
Okay.
I know it's early, but can I test out to see if the share screen works
Yeah,
for me?
go for it. Yeah, I've turned over all the privileges and everything should be out there, so you could just pop it in.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, it just
Yep.
popped in.
Oh, good, okay.
Oh, Rachel's here too. See, there you go, Andy. Rachel's here too.
Hi, Rachel. Okay. It's working.
And Anita,
Hi there.
you know the time zone thing you had before with a meeting?
Yes.
The COVID thing is an hour different. It's
Oh.
so we should be fine after that, after the board meeting.
Oh,
Pacific.
okay.
Say, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew you'd appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, right. It means I get up and get to walk around and do something and go to the restroom before the next one. Yeah. Lucky us.
Yeah, really, yeah. What else can you got to do? Yeah.
Right, exactly. Oh, my gosh. Well, Jimmy, Tony, well, Jimmy may be involved in Southwest Pets today, but he may show up in between or whatever.
Sure.
But
He's good about letting me know if he
Good.
knows.
okay. Kevra, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank
Yeah. Principal Romero, good to see you as well.
Sharing my apologies about, was it Indiana or Illinois? I remember.
It was Illinois, and you get
Illinois.
no apologies from me. You guys were busting me pretty bad last week. Purdue's got a bunch of freshmen. They actually are playing themselves into a 4 seed.
Yep. There actually may be basketball here in another couple weeks still. But we've almost done the 2 weeks to get the curve leveled out. Yeah.
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 Depends where you live.
Yeah. No joke. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. It's 12:10. We've got a couple of our speakers are here. First, let me get my list. We're being recorded. We got that one done. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and then our invocation. So I'm gonna share. Come on. And here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I believe if we could have Pam, I think she's going to give her invocation today.
Thank you. Please join me in a moment of reflection and thanks with our friends beside us and no person beneath us, with the bonds of Rotary between us and our worries behind us, with our goals before us and no task beyond us, with a thirst for knowledge and a dream of a polio and COVID-free world. We are thankful for our Rotary friends and the meeting we are about to share.
Thank you. Polio, absolutely. Let's hope it doesn't take as long for COVID as it was with polio. I was going to say, let's see, who do we have for guests? Our speakers are here. I saw Pat Dwyer's here, but she's in town, so kind of the local. Let's see who else we got on the screens here. Elise, good to see that. Mr. Delaney driving safely to the west. Let's see, do you have to quarantine before you have to go into California? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get a couple announcements. It's 65 and over in the county. I'm going to do a poll here in a moment. Basically, if people have gotten their shots, to get some feedback on if we want to think about starting to get together again, maybe in a couple of months. We have a board meeting next Tuesday at 5:30. If anybody wants the email or the address and the link, let me know. I'll send it to you. There's also a Rotary International COVID update that's at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, which would be an hour after our board meeting on Tuesday, if you wanted to learn some more information about what's going on there. So those are the couple things going on. I see Merle's here. He's going to be actually a speaker here in a couple weeks. Jimmy, he made it, so that's good. Glad to see you, Jimmy. I heard you might be at Pets and and doing some of that stuff. So let's see, anybody else that I'm missing? I want to apologize if I miss somebody. So I'm going to pop up if this works. I'm going to, and it's just a simple to kind of get a feel for where the club is. It's, have you had your shot yet? And just, I'm going to leave it up for just 30 seconds or whatever, if you could. If you've had it, if you had your first one or your second one, just to kind of, so we can kind of get a flavor or a feel for kind of where things are at now. It'll be a discussion at the board meeting. Maybe we want to look at maybe a May or a June or some sort of a interim time to try to work back together. But part of it's, you just get a feel for where people are at least we can get a kind of a flavor. And it looks like 13 out of, let's see, we got 21, I didn't vote, but yeah, so we got 14 out of the 27, 28 people or 26 people that are here that have gotten both their shots. So, I mean, that's the pretty good numbers for who's here today. So that's encouraging. So, you have
That
some,
also dates the club.
what?
That also dates our club.
People might have been volunteers now, Andy.
Yeah. So, okay, that at least gives us a little bit of a flavor for that going forward. So, with that, then I'm going to go straight on into our introductions. I think that Andy was going to introduce our speakers, and I think this is something that's near and dear to several folks of us about the idea of literacy. Like I mentioned before, my wife was a kinder, first grade. Bob, did you have something, Grady? Or no? Okay, you just adjusted. And you got to know how to read. And if you're not reading by a fairly young age, you're in trouble. And so what we can do to try to help would very beneficial. So with that, I'll turn it over to Andy and we'll see how things go.
As Paul just said, and as our December 11th meeting was all about with Ron Shootman of the Arizona Board of Regents, the two greatest indicators of long-term success and a path to a better life are reading at grade level by 3rd grade and math competency by 8th grade. That, along with our quest since midsummer for learning more about racial injustice on a path towards racial justice, got us thinking about how we as Catalina Rotarians could take our own strategy of aiding disadvantaged youth in the Tucson area, combine that with these other initiatives, and come up with a project that would be beneficial to all concerned. What we came up with was the Erickson Reading Program. We talked about this at a January meeting with the club and came up with rousing support for the Erickson Reading Program. We didn't come to this by chance. We came to this by working with TUST, specifically with Dr. Jimmy Hart, the director of the African American Studies for TUST, who also helped direct us to the Erickson School, where we got to know Kevra Rich, who is a response intervention specialist for the African American Student Services Department, and the principal of Erickson, Rachel Romero. So as we have not been able to meet together, as we have not been able to go out and see Erickson and hang out with all the teachers and the staff and the kids, we thought we'd bring a couple of representatives to you to learn a little bit more about Erickson School, learn a little bit more about the reading program and the challenges that they face. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Kevra Rich and Principal Rachel Romero. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Ms. Romero is going to be the first one to present. I am Kevra Rich, and I'm with African American Student Services, and she's going to go ahead and give a little info specific to Erickson, and I think she's done.
Okay. Hi, guys. Sorry. Got testing going
And
on,
frozen.
got lots of stuff going on at the same time. Thank you for having us.
And everybody's frozen.
We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys and you can learn a little bit more about us. So I am Rachel Romero, I'm the principal. I have been the principal here for a couple of years at Erickson, and before that I was the assistant principal here for a couple of years. And before that, I've been in education for 24 years. I've been a classroom teacher. I did mostly intermediate grades. I've also been a school counselor and a dean, and then an AP and a principal. So I've done quite a bit, and I love what I do. And so yes, and anybody that you know that's an educator and anybody's life, whether you're in education or not, reading is an important piece for everybody. Hold on, I'm going to mute really quick while this bell rings. Okay, sorry. So Erickson opened in 1968. We are a neighborhood school, and traditionally it's been a neighborhood school where kids walk to our campus and everything just because of the surrounding area and when it was opened and the new homes that were around here. I've grown up in this neighborhood my entire life. My parents still live down the road. I live down the road. And through the years, though, it's become a school that still serves the neighborhood. It's just that our neighborhood has gotten bigger because a few years ago, they closed some of the neighborhood schools because of, we're an older neighborhood. And, you know, kids have all, I've grown up, my own kids went to the neighborhood schools. And so we now have buses that come into our community now because we have the major cross streets. If you guys aren't familiar with where Erickson is, of Kolb Road. So we have a lot of kids that cross Kolb Road. And so we have a large number of students that are bused into our schools now. We do have a high mobility rate. That's one of the things that we're concerned about though with the surrounding apartments and things. And of course that we're an older neighborhood. We have a lot of homes that, you know, we have homeowners, but they rent out their homes now because they don't need a big home anymore like they used to. And so we have a lot of families and things that rent homes and they're only here like for the duration of their lease for a year. So we have a high mobility rate with that. We are largely Hispanic, but of course we do have numbers, you know, for all other races represented. And so to be able to partner and to bring in resources and to offer another way to support children in literacy is just, it's an exciting adventure. So we're really excited to be able to talk to you guys about like what the meat of this is now. So Kevra's going to present a little bit more about the African American Studies Department and then what it is that we're hoping to do moving forward with your support.
All right, I'm excited. Let's see. All right, so it's loading. Can everyone see the screen? Was loading.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so as a department as the African American Student Services Department, our focus is we will work to ensure African American students receive a quality education and are prepared to succeed in a global society. And our mission is fostering success through academics, advocacy, and collaboration, empowerment, equity, and intervention. Our core values: advocacy, empowerment, integrity, and teamwork. Now, what we're here for today is the partnership, and we're so excited about this partnership with you all, the Catalina Rotary Club, and I know more of you are on here from different Rotary clubs, the Africana Studies at the U of A and Erickson. Our objective is to increase reading levels of African American second and third grade students at Erickson Elementary while providing experience for a student attending the University of Arizona. So our focus is going to be second and third grade. The University of Arizona student intern selection, this is what will be included with that is the intern must provide fingerprint clearance card. Director for the African program will submit the recommendation. The student will be interviewed by a selection team, the African American Student Services Department, RTI, which is myself, an Erickson staff member, and Rotary Club member. And this could change, you know, these are just ideas that we have, and we can discuss further the specifics, but we want all parts represented in the interview process. So the commitment that we are looking for from the U of A intern is that they will commit from September 7th to December 8th. We chose September 7th because the teachers will be settled and they will have the students leveled in their reading groups. And so September 7th is when it's after Labor Day, which the U of A students will already be in school, and it'll just be an easy transition. The intern will be trained and shadow the RTI for 2 weeks. The U of A intern will work with 2 to 3 students twice per week, completing 8 hours per week. The group size will depend on the amount of students that we have that need the services. The intern will keep a log that will be signed each day that they have worked with students. The cooperating teacher will sign to verify that the intern has completed their time with the students, and the intern will receive internship credit. The African American Student Services Department, RTI responsibility, which is me. I'll keep a record of student interns' hours after they have been submitted by the intern monthly. Submit completed hours to U of A instructor for credit. Check in with cooperative teacher or teachers about how things are going with the intern. I'll provide a list of culturally relevant and district approved books to be used with students. Train and assist intern as needed, including how to assess students using NSGRA, Next Step Guided Reading Assessment. The reason I chose, and Ms. Romero agreed, it chose NSGRA is because we can look at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and the end of year progress to have some documentation of how the student began and then how they ended up at the end of the year. It's an easy way to gauge their progress. At the end of the semester, we want to have an awards recognition lunch. Students who have moved up a reading level will receive a certificate for moving up. Parents and Rotary Club members can attend. Students who have participated will receive a new book, and we can add a certificate. Cooperating teachers will be recognized for sharing the experience because we know that they'll be working with us and we want to recognize them for their participation also. And so we heard that the Rotary Club volunteers wanted to participate. So we thought of having you all do classroom weekends, and Mr. Merrill told me this morning that they could even do some of that this year if they wanted to. They could come in on a Zoom and read to classes if they would like. And then that would be something that we would keep going even next year. And also updating the Erickson Library with new books. We've requested from our library assistant to give us a wish list so that the books that you all want to provide for us at the Erickson Library will be greatly appreciated. And now, myself and Ms. Merrill want to leave it open for questions or comments at this time.
Okay.
All right. I don't see any.
So the school year actually begins in August, correct?
Yes.
And so this gives the teachers time to identify the students who will have a need for reading support, and also gives the intern who is selected by University of Arizona time to also come up to speed and get some training and make sure that they're ready to tackle the challenge.
Yes.
Could you, is that, if that's your last slide, could you pull it down so we could see everybody's face a little bit easier?
Okay.
Thank you.
So I see a question in the chat. It says, so is the reach of one intern 2 or 3 students? Well, there will be a schedule. They'll work with more than 2 or 3 students during their hours. So they'll spend a certain amount of time with them each day. The way that I do it with my day, I spend 30 to 40 minutes with a small group of 2 to 3, and that's how we want to model it also. Does that answer your question, Mr. Spear? All right, and then I see another hand, Jeff Nordenson, Mr. Nordenson.
Yes, ma'am. Given the timetable, how are you going to recruit the students at the University of Arizona in time for them to be at least brought up semi to speed for the start of your program?
What I was told is that the Director of Africana Studies, he's going to begin his search now, like looking at the students that are already participating in the program, so that they'll be prepared when they come back for the next semester. Will interns get some college class credit for these efforts too? What I was told is that they'll receive internship credit because that is what this class that Dr. Zenica is over. It is an internship class, so they get the credit for that class, the internship credit. And how will the parents be involved? What do you think, Ms. Romero?
Okay, I can answer that. So once the students are identified, so once school starts in August, teachers have a few weeks because they have to evaluate every single student that they have. And once that is done and completed, we identify some students that would, fit into this program well. We make sure it's going to work with the intern schedule in terms of how many kids, how many hours they can be here. We work all that out. Then there's a letter that's going to have, all of the people involved in terms of all of the partnerships and things, a permission slip that actually goes home to the parent so that they can and they will be involved in that piece, just like we do for any of the other, programs that we work with or pull out programs or anything like that that's for support and resource. Parents always have to be aware and they have to give their permission. And because they also have to know that the person that their child is working with does have a fingerprint clearance card, that we vetted, that people need to know that type of information. So parents are involved in the last piece of it in terms of giving the information about the program and their permission. Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. This is Jeff. 2 questions. The first, most important one from my perspective is you will need to let us know how to volunteer for the reading program so that we can come out to the school and read. And then the other one, which is a little different, is how do we, when some kids are singled out for a special program, there is always the possibility of reactions from the rest of the student body. How do we deal with that with a program like this?
Well, first I tell them to mind their own business, and then just kidding. Well, that's, we have different programs that go on in the school. We have a reading recovery program. We have a reading interventionist. Before COVID, we had Reading Seed coming in, so we have some different, And they all target different levels and different students and those types of things. So there's a lot of that. And part of the programs and the social emotional things that we do in terms of the counselor lessons and our positive behavior interventions and support system that we have, the PBIS system, is talking about how different students have different needs. And, you know, we just all need to respect and basically it's me saying mind your business in a nice way, in a very respectful way, that different kids have different needs. And, you know, because we have students that go with for exceptional education services, for speech, I mean, there's lots of different things. So kids do lots of different things. And it's just part of how it is. So there usually isn't that kind of thing. If there is, it's because it's coming from the parents. And those are the questions that I deal with. Really, it is, because, you know, when you find out your neighbor's kids gets this extra service and why don't you, those are the calls that I get. And so those are the calls that I get. And I, you know, having a conversation with some parents about we're just meeting the needs of the students in different ways is usually an okay answer for parents.
Great.
And then we actually explore if there's something else for their child that we can help them with. And that's
Thank
what we
you.
do.
So I was wondering if we could come back to my question about the reach of a given intern. I'm sorry, I didn't quite, I think you cut out a little bit during your response. So do you anticipate, how many students do you anticipate a given intern, the one intern we're going to fund, is going to be able to help? I'm just not clear. I didn't quite understand.
It's going to depend on, the hard part of that is going to depend on the intern and their availability, because I'm hoping that within this internship, it means that we have people that have the time clear for, you know, all hours of the school day, Monday through Friday. You know, that's what we're anticipating with knowing that somebody's working in an internship program. So we're trying to make sure that we would do it in a way that, you know, 2 or 3 kids in a small group for, you know, from 9 to 10, and then another 2 or 3 kids in a small group from 10 to 11, you know, that type of thing, and working out a schedule so that we can maximize, you know, the small group intimate setting where, you know, you can reach more kids that way, have kids at a leveled session with the intern as well, because that's the other piece that plays into that, is what level are kids at. You know, we can't just mix them all up. So it's going to kind of depend on that type of thing in terms of numbers. So right now, moving forward with looking at students that fall into the category of, you know, our targeted population in this sense, right now we have 24 first and second graders that are going to move into our second and third grade spots next year. So within that, you know, once we run the initial, you know, reading assessments for the year and see where they fall and see who needs it, and then see who we get permission from, you know, and then we'll look at how that's going to. So our plan is to reach as many of those kids as we can, because even the kids that fall into like a higher rating in terms of their reading assessment, if there's time and we have that ability to have that reach, we do that as well, because enrichment is enrichment, no matter what level you're at. So there's always something more that can be presented. So that's what we're looking at, to reach as many as we possibly can.
Got it. Thank
Tony, the other thing is, our goal with the program is 1 intern, 4 hours twice a week for 8 hours total.
Okay.
And those would be hours, you know, obviously that the school is open.
So that could be 8 to 12 students, given that model. If
Yeah.
he's meeting with them twice a week, he or she. Okay. Got it. Thank you. That's helpful.
Rachel, I have a question.
Yes.
My name is Barbara, and my background is in speech and hearing, so I'm familiar with your kinds of different groupings, but I'm also very interested in the question that had to do with the parents, because certainly parents have to sign. But is there any possibility down the road, and perhaps not through this particular partnership, that parents could actually be brought in terms of, generally, often, parent reading level is also lower than you might expect. And so there are lots of groups in town, I'm thinking of Literacy Connects and whatnot, that actually do work with parents. And it seems like a coordinated group of kind of a group that could work with the parents of the kids who are being, so that there'd be some consistency of what they do at home and whatnot. And also just sending books home with getting some of these kids, I'm thinking now of the younger kids, make way for books, the way that they provide books just to families that may not have a lot of books in their home. So anyway, these are all separate kind of projects, but they might fit in. Have you given some of that bigger picture? I'm sure you have. I wonder if you could just share some of it.
We have generally not had a good turnout for when we try to reach out to the families in different things. And we every year have like the family literacy night, the math and science night, you know, where we're trying to bring the families in and present resources and present activities for them to do with their families and that type of thing. So if we were able to partner and make it a bigger thing and make it more of, you know, some class type things or things that happen, you know, on a routine kind of monthly basis for the parents of these students, if we can do something like that to make it an evening something with the kids and the families, that would be something that we could make that much bigger and have that much more of an outreach. So if that is something that any of you want to talk to me about, I am open to anything and everything all the time. I mean, because it'd be wonderful to get something like that started, because, you know, a while back we did have that kind of stuff, and through the years, you just don't have as many parents coming through your door anymore. So.
Kevin, could you speak to that list a little bit of the library books that has been requested that would really help the school before the fall semester, or even now?
Well, from what I understand is that our Erickson library is a little outdated and we want to have an upgrade. So we have reached out to our library assistant, who's going to make a wish list so that whatever you all can provide, we will take it, so that once we get some multicultural books that are approved by the district, so teachers can use them in their classes, so that the students can check it out. And it won't just be limited to African-American books. It'll be for all of the students of Erickson, because a lot of times they don't have books that have faces that look like theirs. And we want them to enjoy reading and be able to put themselves inside the book and relate to some of the things that that they read about and what they're going through. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm always happy to receive new books for the library, because kids, we want them to want to read.
There are a couple more questions on the chat. Are there many kids from Davis-Monthan at Erickson School?
There are not. There is a K-8 school on the base that serves those students. Borman serves K-8 population there on Davis-Monthan. So we are very close. I mean, we could walk over to Davis-Monthan if we needed to. We're really, really close, but no, we do not serve those families. And then there's another one that says, will any of these children be screened for learning disabilities? We look at scores. That's why we do these every year, because we do the baseline, we do mid-year, and we do end of the school year. If there's things that start to pop out, I mean, we're not going to pair a student with various needs with one of the interns if they need to be with a different type of teacher that is trained and, you know, an educator in terms of the services that a student needs like that. So it's not like the intern would be working with students who are identified and have an IEP for whatever different reasons or whatever their needs are. So they wouldn't be working with that. That's something that we make sure that's not fair for the kid or for the intern. And then I think I kind of spoke already to the usual level of parent engagement is it's dwindled so low in the last few years. Anything else? Hi.
I'm not seeing any more questions out there. We're looking forward, just to let everybody know that one of the next steps is for the team to get back together and to make our first introduction of the Catalina Rotarians to U of A. And we would like to get to know the Africana Studies director and make sure that that Dr. Zeniniga is aware of the importance of this program and try to guide him in what he's looking for in an intern. One of our goals behind the intern was to have consistency and stability. So it is important to us to select a person at the outset that meets that criteria so that we have the best chance of having that person there for the long haul. That also has a big impact on the efficacy of these sorts of programs.
Andy, I think Bob Grady wanted to say something. But you're on mute, Bob.
Okay, yeah, I already said it, but I was muted, sorry. I'll get the hang of this eventually. So one thing I just did want to add, we early on in our discussions with Rachel Kevra and Jimmy Hart, and this really came from Jimmy, was the importance of parent engagement. So know that Jimmy called it gamifying, gamifying the experience with the reading program with the kids to kind of engage the parents. We haven't really detailed out what that means, but from Jimmy's standpoint, that is a very important part of what we're trying to achieve, to find ways to get parents involved with supporting their kids' reading. So that is something we'll be pursuing. So don't think we're not fully aware of the importance of the parent engagement.
Is there, ask, is there any information about why there's a decrease in parent involvement?
I don't have any information per se on directly. It's just from the time that I got here, we had a dwindling site council and a PTA. And through the years, trying to get a parent representative from every grade, a parent to come in and participate in the site councils and to participate on the PTAs and to be part of, somebody that can come and be here and run some fundraisers and answer questions and, and try to get more parents to be involved. We just have parents that just say, I can't, I work till this time, or I work these odd hours, or I work overnight, or, and it's just a lot of people saying, I really want to be involved, I just don't have the time to be involved, is what we get a lot of. And so, there's not like, even when we put surveys out, you have parents that just don't answer the surveys. And well, right now they're tired of surveys coming through, well, there's so many surveys that have been sent out this year. But even prior to this year, it has been steadily on the decline. Right now, we have a PTA that's just a president and a secretary, and they have not been able to get any parents to be in, and we're all Zoom, like they could just be Zooming in for meetings, and they can't get any parents to commit and to pick things up. And so like, we don't have anything really active right now, because as we try to involve and pull people in, nobody wants to commit to that kind of stuff right now.
From personal experience, I know that a lot of my students I've worked with, they come from single parent homes and they're the only ones working. They have multiple siblings that are taking care of things at home. So like Ms. Romero said, they don't have the time because they're working and taking care of the kids. So yeah, that's just from personal experience.
Do you have a counselor or a social worker that works with your students? And second part of the question is Erickson required to do anything towards the new mandates about social emotional learning?
We have a counselor, and our counselor is very fortunate that I was a counselor, so he has to do a lot. So he's held to a higher standard. We have a counselor. He meets with every class every week. Once a week, he presents a lesson to every single class. And he does individuals and he does small groups. He has maintained that same thing over Zoom this year, and still does his check-ins. We have somebody that kind of, it's an MTSS facilitator who's a multi-tiered system of supports person. That's their job. And they fit in easily with all of the components of what we do, on a daily basis here for our kids with our curriculum service provider. They all work together to make sure that the needs of the students are being met, and that social emotional kind of thing, and identifying anybody who may need extra types of services and things like that. So we have some pieces in place to make sure that we are supporting kids in all different ways, not just academics and behavior, but the social emotional as well. So, I'm all over the social emotional stuff, and with our counselor, who is awesome. And he has been here for a number of years also. So he has a very good relationship with our families that have remained. And we're the type of school that we have families that leave and then they come back eventually a year or two later, here or there. It's just that kind of community. So he's built some very good relationships with.
Cool, thanks.
I was also going to mention that I think Bookman's is really good about helping with books, so that if you had a list, maybe going to Bookman's, when a book came in that they didn't necessarily want, they would give to you. I know it's not brand new maybe, but that's another good way to get books.
And we can, once Deborah and I get that list from our library assistant, we could always send that off to Andrew. Because we've got his number. We can send that to him as soon as she compiles that for us. So our assistant that works here, she's here half-time. We don't even have a full-time library assistant. She's between two schools. So she let us know that she should be able to get that to us hopefully by the beginning of next week, and then we'll send that off to Andrew.
Okay. Thank you guys very much. We know this is a very hectic time for you, especially with some of the latest edicts coming out, and that getting a little bit of your time, even on a Friday afternoon, is a treat for us. And thank you. And we absolutely look forward to this partnership and expect that it will be long-lived.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you for inviting us here and listening to us. And if you guys have any other questions, I'm sure Andrew would be happy to send them on to us, and then Kevra and I can respond to you guys if you guys think of anything else. So thank you for your time, and be safe. And I was going to vote when you guys were doing the vaccine, because I was going to tell you I got both of my shots. I can come to the meetings.
Yeah, me
too. There will definitely be an update to this in person when we're back together.
Okay.
Things are rolling.
Okay. Well, you guys can put me down for both my shots, so I'll be ready when you guys invite us, okay?
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you, guys.
Andy, I do have one question.
Yes.
The tax credit that people can get for donating to public schools, is there a way to use the tax credit money if you sent it to Erickson specifically to help continually fund, maybe get a second or third intern with tax credit money donated directly to Erickson?
I would defer to Rachel on that.
I would have to make sure that it's something that we can use specifically for that for an intern. We have to use the site councils and the PTAs in order to have that forum, in order to vote on that type of stuff to be used. Accordingly, they got to keep track of all the money. You guys know how that goes. So I could bring that up and see if that is something that we're allowed to do in terms of funding an intern, because if we did something where it's an intern from the U of A, it might be a little bit different, very specific coming from my funds, as opposed to having all the approvals and coming from somewhere else.
Actually,
so I can.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. Actually, the MOU, we're piggybacking on an existing memorandum of understanding between TUSD and the University of Arizona. And there's a specific clause in that MOU that prohibits the payment for this, which is why we're doing the stipend outside of the MOU process. So, Irv, I'm not sure. Maybe if people donate and can earmark it for Erickson, maybe that goes for books. maybe it goes for some general aids, but I don't think it would be, it would work for underwriting the intern.
Okay, that makes sense, Andy.
Yeah, I'll load up.
So I think
we're done with the questions.
yes.
I'd like to thank Rachel, principal, and Kevra. Rotary's big on polio, and we, in your name, will donate funding for 10 kids or 10 little ones to be inoculated in the world. We're trying to knock that one out. Hopefully we'll get that one done one of these days, just kind of like COVID's doing with everybody else with their shots these days. Same idea, but how do we get better? But appreciate it. And like I say, yeah, I got a teacher at home. She's probably not going to substitute for a little while yet. She's a little older, but she loves the kidlets and teaching them how to read and so on like that. So it's a skill set we all need to have, and will help them grow and get better. So appreciate it. This should be a very good program for raising some raising the reading is, I guess, best I could say. So, but thank you. So appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend. Stay safe.
You too. Thank you. And back to you, President Paul.
Sergeant, I forgot again, but Irv is great enough to step in. I've got this gray hair and no memory anymore, I think.
Well, the first thing is, Sergeant.
Irv, before we do that, I noticed Dr. Hart just joined us.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, how are you? I hope you all had the chance to see Kevra's presentation.
Yes.
It was excellent. Thank you.
They both did a great job.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good.
There have been some questions, Dr. Hart, on just how long it's going to take to identify an intern and the sort of training that they're going to need before they're interacting with the kids. And we said that we're willing to begin this whenever U of A is willing to begin. And Rachel pointed out that we'll probably, or actually Kevra, I guess, with an evaluation team to find that intern. So if you have any thoughts or comments on the MOU, that might be helpful.
Great. Yes, that's actually right. Her and I talked yesterday. The selection process, we would like to include someone from the Rotary to participate in the selection of the student. It would obviously be Kevra. She'll be working very closely with the student, and then of course someone from the Erickson team, whether it be Rachel Romero or one of her staff. So that is accurate. The other piece related to starting, now that we know we're really moving forward with this, what I'll do is reach out to Dr. Zeninga at the U of A to start the advertisement and recruitment process. We want to put that out before this month is over, because students will be selecting courses for next semester. And what we're so appreciative of with the Rotary Club is that student, and I believe Kevra articulated this in her presentation, student has to enroll in the internship program. So they're paying for that 3 credit hours to participate and get this experience. What's unique about this partnership is that unlike in past, when a student enrolls in the internship program, and if they're selected for this particular reading partnership, with you all providing the stipend, it will offset the cost of their 3 credit hours. So we'll start that recruitment process sooner than later, so they can add it to their courses. In past, we generally didn't start the internship until the actual semester of the internship. So a student would have to go back into their course schedule and change their schedule or add an additional 3 credit hours to their existing courses. By us starting this spring for recruitment, the goal would be to have a student in place and know the student that will be participating in the reading program by the end of this semester, or by end of May, so that they'll be gone for the summer break, but that gives us opportunity to do some prep work up front as well. And then I also believe Kevra made a change to the initial start date. we recommended a September 1st start date or whatever the following Monday is. That gives the student an opportunity to get acclimated to the campus, get situated, and then also gives the school time to identify the right students to work with at college. I'll share one other idea as well, or something that just came up. So my wife, she's a part of another organization. It's called Jack and Jill of America, Tucson chapter. It's an organization focused on civic engagement for mothers of children of African-American descent. So regardless of the mother's ethnicity, demographic, the student. And so I proposed to her to, through their organization, to purchase a number of books. Hopefully they'll follow through with that, because I know you all would like to engage in reading and working with students in literacy as well at Erickson next year. That's all I have, Dr. Kerr.
Okay. Bob, anything I missed?
No, that was great, Jimmy. Thank you. That
Thank you.
added some good stuff. Appreciate that.
And Rachel and Kevra did a super job.
Awesome, awesome. And thank you all for your all's flexibility and understanding with what's happening right now. You know, the governor said all schools open back up. TUSD was pretty prepared for that, but there's some little tweaks to it. So you can imagine how the meetings have happened. So thank you all very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Hart.
Thank you for your time.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to seeing how this plays out, because it's got to be good. It should be good for everybody.
Yes, yes.
It's a good thing. So, yeah. Okay. Now,
If you want to escape for a little while, Dr. Hart, feel free to stay with us for a few minutes.
You know what? If I'm okay to leave, I will go ahead and leave.
you probably got meetings and people, things to figure out yet still.
Thank you all very much.
Take care.
Yeah, to see 29 people, that's awesome. So thank you. Have a good Friday and weekend.
You too. Thanks, Irv. Sorry about that interruption.
That's okay. He has the power. Irv?
I have the power?
You have the power.
Well, the first thing, I ought to fine you for not asking me to be sergeant with 1 minute notice.
No, I think I think an hour is good enough. I forgot all about it until this morning when I was going through the agenda.
Yeah, the problem with that hour is I was on 2 conference calls with attorneys and clients on estates. So my preparation is my hat.
Oh, that's okay.
And my shirt. And for anybody who's not paying attention to the women's basketball games, I would like to suggest that they send Andy some money. Maybe if they haven't watched any women's basketball games, $10. If they've watched one game, $5. And if they watched yesterday's playoff game, they're off the hook. How's that? I guess I'm just getting, this is hard when you can't hear any responses.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'll keep track.
All right. And Andy, a happy buck for me and a happy buck for Terry. We got our first COVID shots last Friday. We got the second one in 2 weeks. I was disappointed that Paul couldn't sneak us into the 70 and up group, only being 69, but I'll let him off the hook for that one. And it ended, and we actually went to the university site run by the state. I could not believe how efficient that was. We went to the walk-in part. Our appointments were 2 hours apart. They took me when they took Terry. It was very simple, straightforward. And during the 15 minutes that you have to sit there, they set up your next appointment. So I would encourage anybody who hasn't gotten the first shot, get on that website and sign up. Yeah, Andy.
I'll also toss in some happy bucks. Pam and I got our second shots yesterday at Tucson Convention Center. Also extremely efficient, easy in and out. The longest delay we had was the 15-minute wait after the shot.
Yes, but did they give you a lollipop at the end like they did at the U of A?
No lollipops.
Oh,
No hats, no shirts.
well, I'll tell you what, Andy, when we meet in person, I'll make sure I bring a couple of lollipops for you.
Yeah, I was going to say the TCC was really good because yeah, they have they gave me I was good, a sticker and a lollipop, but I was I was supposed to wear a mask. So how do you do the lollipop? Didn't make any sense.
You basically cut a hole in the mask, you put the lollipop in, and then you walk around with the stick sticking out. You look like an idiot, but at least you get to eat the lollipop.
Yeah, I got a lollipop and a sticker too, but I ate the lollipop, so I can't
Hey, hey, we got the best thing we received was a tip, and the tip was to make a photocopy of the front and back of your card.
Right.
Take the original card and keep it where you keep your passport or your social security card or your important papers. Then take the copy and laminate the copy. Why? Because there's space on the card in case they ever come back and say you need a booster or they come out with something different. There's space for that to be written in on the official card. But as people start opening up, they might start saying, we'd like to see verification that you got your shots.
Sure.
And so the recommendation was carry around a copy of it and don't take a chance on losing your official card. So we did that yesterday.
That's good.
Yeah, Andy, that was good advice. We got the similar advice, but I went to plan B is just take a picture of it and keep it on your phone. Nobody ever seems to lose their phone.
A good idea.
Oh, okay.
Or if you lose your phone, you can always recover what was on it. At least that's the theory. So anyways, seeing that I was totally ill prepared other than putting the hat on and the U of A basketball shirt, I'll open it up to any other happy bucks.
Okay, I have 10 happy bucks to say, go Michigan. We're number 2 in basketball and we beat our biggest rival, Michigan State, yesterday. And I'll do another 10 bucks for the U of A women's because they kicked butt with Washington State, who we needed to really beat. So excellent job.
Thanks. Any other happy bucks? Got to be at least one more happy buck.
Got some happy bucks here.
Thanks, Anita.
I was probably doing your job, Irv, because I was looking at this March thing, trying to see what kind of things go on in March. And, today is Employee Appreciation Day. And I'm sure that's where Andrew took off to go and make sure he had taken care of that. And, but March 9th is, National Organize Your Home Office Day, which I thought was, I took that personally. And so next Tuesday, I'll work on that. It's also Panic Day. But the week of the 21st to the 27th is American Chocolate Week. So how about that? So those of you who like chocolate can work on it. And then, of course, it's American Red Cross Month. It's Workplace Eye Wellness Month, which we probably all, I'm wearing my blue whatever reflection glasses, so been looking at screens so much, and we probably need to do that. But most of all, it's I want to bring out that it's, of course, Women's History Month. And so I would like, first of all, to honor the women in this Rotary Club. And I'm not going to forget you guys. There are women in your lives as well. And so I'm going to give a half leg up for all the women that are affiliated and part of Catalina Rotary Club.
Thank you, Anita. And
Speaking
now
of
that you
half
mentioned the
legs
red,
up,
what's that,
speaking
Andy?
of half legs up, I've been receiving a few checks to the Rotary Foundation to help support the good work that they're doing around the world. So if you have, after you write your check for the Catalina Rotary Foundation for our good works, feel free to write another check to the Rotary Foundation, and I'll make sure it gets to Al, who's AWOL today, but we'll get it to him, and so it can be properly recorded in the annals of Rotary International.
Al's attending some World War II museum thing or something, I heard.
Well, he can get fined for that when he gets back.
It's the International World War II Museum conference. It's incredible.
He'll still get fined.
I have a happy book. I have
Go
a
ahead.
happy book.
Go, Pat.
Just-
No, I have a happy book. I'm happy that the women are going into the tournament, #1, the Yukon women. And I shouldn't be penalized for not watching all of the Arizona women when I'm watching my own women.
As long as you give us happy bucks, we're good.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have to throw in some extra happy bucks for Anita taking over most of my job. I appreciate that, Anita. And the other thing, Anita, you mentioned the Red Cross Month, and I think one thing that's important, and I have to admit that I have been a little derelict in my regular donation of blood because of COVID. So I'm going to set up an appointment and give blood this next week. And I would like to encourage everybody. When Peter set up the blood drive, I think I only saw me and Peter there, but I would like to encourage everybody who can to go ahead and give blood. It's desperately needed. There's been a shortfall because of people afraid of COVID. So I'll throw in some additional happy bucks on my check to you, Andy, which for your convenience, I will do by PayPal.
Okay.
Andy
Great,
likes
thank
PayPal,
you.
I think.
I prefer a check.
Really? You told me to do it by PayPal.
I'll do it by PayPal. I'll do it by Pony Express.
I
But
did
a
a couple
check
times on
is,
PayPal. I'll send you a check. You got it.
yeah.
Any other happy bucks? If not, I'll turn it back over to Paul.
Thank you, Irv. You know, Anita, you missed the best day of the best of the days. Today is National Cheese Doodle Day.
Oh, well, gosh darn. I'll remember that next time. Thanks.
Also, in history, today's the anniversary of the 1770 Boston Massacre, which was kind of the precursor to the Revolution. Yeah, and then if anybody listens to pianos, Steinway Piano Company was founded in 1853. Some interesting twists and turns. Thank you for all showing up. There's a board meeting, like I say, on Tuesday. There's also a COVID thing. It'll be 6:30 our time. If you want to listen, what Rotary International is supposed to have some speakers with that as a quote, and it kind of fits with a couple things of crossing over from last month to this. Frederick Douglass taught that literacy is the path from slavery to freedom. There are many kinds of slavery and many kinds of freedom, but reading is still the path. Carl Sagan made that statement many years ago, but it's so true. And I think what we're doing and what we're trying to help out with can and will make a difference. Thank you for all showing up. We'll see how things go. And maybe one of these days, sooner than later, we will be back together in person and virtual. So be safe out there.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Good meeting.